G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all safe and well wherever you are. Just running down through some bits and pieces that I've been working on this Ukrainian KrAZ truck, and so far it's going okay. It's a really detailed little kit, and definitely not for someone who's never built a model kit before. It's a very high parts count, lots of small parts, and there is a bit of cleanup unfortunately on some of them, but so far so good. Yeah. I won't whinge too much about it, but it's been okay. To start with, we'll have a look at this V8 diesel. Incredibly detailed kit. This is like a little model in itself, this engine. And once all the rest of the components go on it, I think it's going to look absolutely fantastic. We've got even details down to the oil cooler pipe here for the turbo manifold. There's the fuel pump on the inside there. We've got oil filter, separate fuel filter. There's a big array of serpentine belts to go on the front. We've got the single turbo on the back with the pipes on the rear of that, with their flex joints in that as well. It's really detailed. You might have seen in the beginning of the video a picture of one of these engines sitting on a crate, and just all painted silver. But so far the motor has gone together quite well. I said it's a little model kit in itself, and no major problems with any of the bits and pieces for that. Transfer case on the back of that, very well detailed as well. The PDO winch, I've added the photo etch to that. I did have to modify this from the instructions. I'm not using my holding knife here because I haven't got a pointer, but the tabs, they say to fold directly down. I thought that's quite not right. I think the bolts would have to stay bolted to something instead of like straight down inside the winch housing itself, if that makes any sense. Probably not. But that's a nice little kit too, like a little nice little sub-assembly, I should mean. The radiator, I had to put a bit of filler in that. The radiator comes as two halves you put together, but there's some nice detail on it. A little bit of filler in there, a bit of sanding, and then that sort of mounts into the front here on these pipes, and then sits on top of the chassis. I've got the header tank overflow bottle. Starting to work on the cab mounts for the top. Had to clean them up a little bit. That's the transfer case. That little piece there is actually the transfer case lever. More parts of the transfer case. The fan, tail shaft, and a couple of other bits and pieces. The front bumper bar, I have got the photo etch on that. No problems. I tried this icky sticky medium CA glue on that, and it did exactly what I wanted to do. Give me a little bit of time to be able to move the parts around, and then when I got the parts sort of put in position, it's a very small mounting point in behind on these on these steps here. I just flowed a little bit of the thin icky sticky CA in there, and that worked tremendously well. I didn't have to use any kicker, it just went in there and bang, beautiful stuff. So it's a really good product. The chassis is straight. It is very well detailed. You just have to be careful. You've got to open some holes up on the side of the chassis for this particular version. By the looks of the inside of the chassis in here, if I go around there, you'll see a couple of like square pieces in there. They must be knockouts for future or different versions of this truck. Got part of the winch assembly done on the rear, the tow hitch, the light brackets, everything put on the back, and it's just going together slowly. There's a little bit of cleanup on some of the parts. The leaf springs on the front here had some seam lines, which I still cleaned up. I'm still using this little cheap file set that I picked up ages ago. I did a review on. They're still working really well. I really do enjoy using them. They're a nice little file set, and I just use the flat file to clean up all the seam lines and put a bit of definition in between the loops of the springs. And then this is where I've sort of run into a problem. There's heaps more things to go on here. Like I've got the front diff there. There was a little bit of clean up in the front diff, etc. But this engine, you might have seen in the photo beginning of the video, is all painted silver. And then the rest of the chassis is black. I'll be doing it like a semi-gloss Tamiya black to act like a chassis black. There's still more heaps of pieces to go on, and I'm not too sure. I just don't know where. If I glue it together, I can't get the motor to squeeze back into the chassis. There's a couple of mounting holes in there that these engine mounts here. You might be able to see if my big fingers are out of the way. There's a couple of engine mounts here on either side, located into a couple of holes. Same with the transfer case. So I'm sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I could paint the engine and paint the chassis, but then there's other pieces that has to be black. So it might be build up as much as I can, paint all the parts, and get all the chassis sort of done the best I can, airbrushed up. There's a few cross braces and everything in there. I might have to paint all those separately and then go back through and use the just use some super glue to hold them into place. Once I get the structural integrity of the chassis glued together with the engine in it, then I can paint the parts separately and add them on. The only one other thing I did forget before I go is that the PDO winch doesn't have a cable. So what I've got to try to do now is make up a cable. I've made it so the drum does turn. There's a little bit of work in that. So hopefully I can wind on something to replicate a cable, then thread it back up through up to the rear winch. I've got to find some photos of how the cable, whether it's held back here or it's tied back, but I'd say it's back here somewhere with a tow hook or whatever they're using on it. And just get that sorted out. But apart from that, so far it's not a bad kit. I just wanted to do this quick video to show you where I was up to, and any trouble I've had with the kit, which is not really the only thing that I found, that the plastic is a little bit. Be very careful with this HobbyBoss plastic. It will chip away. It's very hard. You're better off cutting any points on this mounting points on the sprue gates, cut them off not flush with the kit part, and then just a little bit away from it, and then sand it down, and you won't have any problems. If you try to cut it too close, it will take a chunk out of the plastic. So that's about it, guys, and I can try to paint what I can, and yeah, it's going to be a nice kit. It really is. Just the detail in it, unlike for $60, $65, you definitely get your money's worth out of it. So be safe, model hard. A little bit of effort, you can get a good result from an old model kit. Put some effort in these new ones too. They're absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, can't go past icky sticky glue for a really good result. For those photo etch parts and stuff you want to glue down quickly. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care.